Hey guys, welcome back to CETV. Today we're going to be reviewing the Canon R8 and the RF 24-50 with special guest Travis Hayto from SoCo Studios. Hi guys, welcome back. I'm Callan, the Canon specialist in WA, and I'm here with Travis, and we're going to be talking about the R8, and you're going to be sharing some of your thoughts with us.
Absolutely. I was very excited to get my hands on the R8, Camera Electronic and Canon. Set me up with this for the last couple of weeks, and I took it out on some of my professional shoots, and I was basically using it like one of my pro cameras. I was very, very impressed to think that a full frame camera can be this small with this much quality is pretty powerful. You know, so it's very similar to the R6. Do you know the capabilities of the R6 Mark II?
Yeah, definitely.
So it's the same sensor, and it actually has the same autofocus.
What were some of the key differences you found?
Key differences is just the ergonomics. So if you look on to the Canon R8, there is basically a far less number of buttons. So it's a little bit more clunky to navigate and get around, especially when you're, say, photographing sport or something, or concerts or something a little bit quicker, and you want to change your focus point, you know, because you're auto tracking. You know, say I was photographing the Western Force rugby, right? And auto tracking doesn't work all the time. You need a hybrid of being able to go back to spot focus and, you know, use tracking. You know, to be able to fling your spot focus around, that's probably the biggest difference between that and the R6 Mark II.
Would you say that the R8 is more designed for like travelers and people wanting a lightweight setup rather than sort of sporting?
Absolutely. The R8, I feel, is designed for an entry level into full frame. So if you're a young gun looking to get into full frame for the first time, I think it's an exceptional buy. So I photograph with a 1DX Mark III and an R5 currently, and you know, the R8 is probably better quality than my 1DX3. So it's
just crazy. It's
very similar megapixels, but the mirrorless cameras are just getting better and better. You know, and it's faster. It's 40 frames per second.
Well, I'm pretty sure it has the same processor as some of the pro cameras like the R6 II and stuff, which is pretty impressive as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's a really good entry level camera into full frame. So if you're looking to get into being a professional photographer, it's a great gateway through to that. Mm-hmm. But then also if you're a hobbyist and you're trying to extend into that next level of cameras, I think it's fantastic. It's just a little bit less ergonomic than the pro cameras, but ultimately you get what you pay for. The other one is the battery. Being such a small camera, it is really quite small. I think it's 461 grams from memory.
It's the lightest full frame camera, I think.
Yeah. The battery, you just have a lot less life. However, not a big issue. They're pretty small. You can carry extras. You know, it's not a deal breaker for me. The other one is SD card instead of CF. So that's probably the main difference between the R6 Mark II.
And instead of 2 slots, you've only got 1 as well.
Yeah, but with the sizes of cards now, yeah, I don't see that as an issue as well.
Yeah,
because you know, you can get a 512 gig card pretty easily, or 128. I think the SD cards come in, don't they?
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely a great camera. You know, it's got all full functionality. You can shoot Canon log, C-log for
video. Which is
video.
insane.
Which is unreal. You know, slow-mo, so 100 frames per second. You got the full functionality, so a really great hybrid between the two. You know, a lot of creators now need to do photo and video, so it has that capability. It's not just a solitary photography camera or solitary cine camera or anything like that. Yeah.
And how did you find having like dedicated switches for video and photo, and then like the lock system here as well, compared to like R5 or R6 Mark I, where you had to dial through all of the settings to get to video.
Absolutely.
Which for me was annoying.
The dedicated switch is a godsend. When I first shot the R6 Mark II, I was a bit critical of it being on the left side. However, you just get used to it. The R5, you have to click mode, info, and then go through to video. And it's really slow to go between the two. However, having it on the one, you can just go between the two really quickly. I sometimes shoot photo and video at the same event, and to just go bang bang, and go between the two, I think is really important and a great addition. For me, what Canon has done with the mirrorless range coming out, R5, R6 Mark II, and now the R8, has just really set themselves apart. The quality of it, to be able to crop in sensor as well to go to the 1.6.
With a digital teleconverter, isn't it?
Yeah, digital.
Which is insane.
Yeah. So I was shooting the rugby with my 400mm 2.8, the EF version, and I was not taking my teleconverter out of my bag. I was just grabbing. You just go straight into your Q button on here, and it's 2 clicks and you're into teleconverted, which is pretty unreal.
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, the digital teleconverter basically upscales using the software that they have in camera, the image. So it crops it in, and then using their technology, it upscales the image. So you're getting the same file size as you would from a normal image, just at like a 2x zoom or a 4x zoom, which is pretty impressive as well.
Yeah, very much so. For me, one of the leading things for the mirrorless cameras is the ability to crop in. You can take your image, and then later on in Photoshop or Capture One or Lightroom, whatever you use, to crop that image in a lot more than what you could with the DSLRs. So you have the ability to shoot, say if you're shooting sport or concerts or anything like that, you can shoot a little bit looser, so then you can take that portrait and landscape frame from it. So you have dual possibility, and then crop in as much as you want. I think that's a really powerful thing that all the mirrorless cameras are sort of being able to be used for.
How'd you go with the ISO handling compared to say like R6 II and stuff like that? Did it still handle as good, or did you find it was sort of taking a step down from those pro cameras?
With the R6 Mark II and the R8, you're 24 megapixels, and the R5 is 48, 49, somewhere around there. Don't quote me. Which I don't know how it works technically, but the R6 Mark II and the R8 are better in low light situations.
Yeah, less megapixels, less sort of noise you're going to get.
Yeah, correct. So, sometimes that's actually a benefit. Like if you were shooting concerts, I photographed Ed Sheeran with this, and the difference between this and the R5, the R8, I had a lot more ambient light in the background. My R5 actually cut a lot of that out. So it was quite interesting using it for that. I enjoyed it. I think it's a really cool addition to be able to do that. If you're solely a concert photographer or someone that's shooting low light stuff, then the R6 Mark II and the R8 are really more of a benefit. But if you need the really, really big file sizes, then the R5 and that way is probably more of a benefit for that stuff.
Cool. I'm interested to know, ergonomically, because it's so much lighter, did you find it an issue at all in comparison to the R6, R5, or they still managed to get the ergonomics of the camera down right in terms of how it feels?
I have really big hands, so even the R5 feels small in my hands. But this is tiny. I had my 28-70, the new f2 on there, and this feels like a little toy camera for me. However, people with smaller hands, especially females, I think would find that this camera molds to their hand really well. To pick it up and hold it and shoot is really easy. I like how it's quite jagged there and it sits well. I set them next to each other with this and the R5, and it's not all that smaller. It's not like it's really comparable. It is a little bit smaller, but it's not completely out of the realm of being too small. I think it's a really benefit. Imagine going traveling with this. And a couple of primes, or one really nice zoom lens.
Which is probably why they did it with the 24-50 as well.
And that's why it's marketed for this sort of level of your junior pros or your pros are trying to step up into that next level of camera, or you're sort of hobbyists getting to that next level of camera.
Or going travelling and want to reduce the size of your kit and just one lens that does all sort of thing.
Yeah, you get what you pay for at the end of the day. This is your 4.5 to 5.6, I think, or 6.3. At the end of the day, this is never going to be the same quality as
of course,
your marquee lenses.
And you wouldn't expect it to be when you're paying the prices of L series glass.
Yeah, correct. And I think it just gives you an addition in your kit. If you're spending out all that money on your R8, then you don't have to think about another lens straight away. Personally, I like to spend my money on my lenses because I find that I update my bodies when the technology comes along much quicker. So if it was me and I had the choice of, if I was starting out and I had the choice of, say, the R6 Mark II and some kit lenses, or the R8 and some better L series lenses, I'd probably go the better lenses and stay with the R8, because what that will do is you'll have time to develop and get through this. It won't be too much camera really quickly. The R6 Mark II will be too much camera for a fair while, but I feel the lenses will let it down and won't get it to its full its full capability, because that's the thing that really sets it apart. Like, I've got an image of the 24-50 and the 28-70, I think, which is a little bit unfair. But you can just see the difference between the quality of the two, but same camera. Right. So definitely, I would
investing in some nicer glass, which will last you a long time. And then going for something like the R8, which is going to do the job on every occasion, really, and then later down the line stepping that up.
No, very, very good camera. I was very impressed. Definitely not as the next level as the R6 Mark II, but then also the price reflects that too. But great hybrid, bit of photo, bit of video, all your custom functions. Autofocus is lightning quick. Live tracking's lightning quick. Very impressed.
So the 24-50 is one of the lenses that comes in a kit with the R8. Now it is nice and small and compact for travel. The reason for it being a lot cheaper is because it is a variable aperture. So instead of having a fixed aperture on some of the pro lenses, say like 2.8, which gives you that nice smooth bokeh if you're doing a portrait, you lose a little bit of that, but instead you make up for size and weight and the fact that this on here is basically a very small version of a 24-70 really. So Travis, if you were starting off, would you go for something like an R8, save some money instead of getting like an R6 II or an R5 and then having to get a cheaper lens like a 24-50 or something? Or would you go with an R8 and then have a bit of more money to spend on like a nicer lens? What would you do in that sense?
Absolutely. It comes down to what you want to achieve with your photography and the pros and cons of each camera. However, if both of them are in the realm of achieving what you want, I would definitely go less camera and more lens. The reason being is when you do, I guess, splurge and spend that money on the lenses, you have that clarity and the quality. You can't have that with both. Like, you can have a really nice camera, but if you put that with less good lenses, it's
the
probably
colours,
a good
the sharpness.
It's the sharpness mostly for me that I really like from buying better lenses. So you can buy this great camera or the R6 Mark II, but you're not using it to its full ability without using good lenses. So what I would do is I would pare back my camera bodies, because you're going to upgrade your camera bodies much quicker than you are going to with your lenses. So make that capital investment with your lenses, and you're going to keep them for a lot longer, and then just upgrade your bodies as you evolve as a photographer and it becomes less. It's less camera than you need, and then you can just upgrade your camera to the next one, but you've still got those good lenses.
A good lens lasts a lifetime if you look after it. Looking after it is the key thing.
Not me, I trash my gear.
Cool.
Cal, what's the difference between the old school teleconverters, 1.6, 1.5 and 2, to the newer style where you can do it all in camera?
So for years, everyone's been using teleconverters, which are about probably the size of this, and they go in between your camera and your big lens you've got. So say you've got a 70 to 200 and you're going to put a 2x teleconverter in between. At that 200 focal length, it then becomes a 400mm. So instead of having to spend upwards of maybe $600 on a teleconverter, now they're making them in camera. So a digital teleconverter like in the Canon R8 here will give you the option of shooting up to like 4x zoom extra on what you've got, but reducing the size. You can't shoot RAW, but in saying that, being able to shoot JPEG full size at, if you've got a 200mm becoming 400mm is amazing.
The thing that I really like about it is when you have the mechanical EF ones, you actually lose f-stops. So it can be up to 2 stops.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
if you have, like my 400mm was a 2.8, and then that becomes f4, f5.6, depending on what ones you have on there. However, with the in-body ones, you retain that aperture of 2.8, which I think is really powerful. And you don't lose as much quality from the in-camera ones.
The image sharpness you would lose from teleconverters. Often before, I mean, I've got the Canon R6 and that didn't have the digital teleconverter, and I was almost more pushed towards just cropping it than using a teleconverter, because the sharpness compared to cropping and teleconverter was pretty close. So then having a digital teleconverter which doesn't crop, it just upscales the image, is pretty awesome.
Cal, what are they worth and where do they sit in the Canon pyramid of cameras?
Yeah, so body only, this goes for $2,589. If you want it with the kit with this lens here, you're looking at $2,899. Now that comes in between what the RP is currently at and what the R6 Mark II is, but you're jumping up in quality quite a lot. So if you're not willing to spend money for the R6 II, but you're still wanting to get something that's full frame, this is the no-brainer. Thanks guys for watching, and big thanks to Travis for coming down and telling us his thoughts on the R8 and the 24 to 50.
Thanks for having me. Hopefully it helps and answered some questions that you may have.
Awesome. Make sure to subscribe to see any more content we have coming out on any future products, and have a good day. Thanks guys for watching, and thank you Travis for coming down and not shaking my hand.
Oh.
So a big thank you to Travis for taking his time to come and tell us his thoughts. Bro, that was good! What's up guys? Travis Hayto from SoCo Studios. Is it SoCo Studios?
You only gaze for 2.8 seconds though, so for the 3.
Fuck, these lights are hot as fuck, eh? This is my lover, Travis Hayto, and...
See you guys next time.
Is that good?
Well, mate.